This fall, choose Primavera Online, and you'll be choosing a school with flexibility, personalized support, and an award-winning curriculum that's over 20 years strong. Now enrolling grades K to 12 at chooseprimavera.com.
Good day to you. This is your intrepid host, CEC, aka Stony Shores from Yachtley Crew. You are listening to Inspirado Projecto. Today is September 2nd, 2025. Already it's September. So this interview took place on August 8th, 2025, during the Lionsgate portal, while Yachtley Crew is in town to play at the WOW Theater in Eugene, Oregon. That day is filled with synchronicities. During that day, I'm going to read to you in a second what the Lionsgate portal is. I just did a search on Grok, and I'll tell you what it is, what it means. I could definitely say that 8 is my favorite number, and it's because it's a vertical version of infinity. I have so many rabbit holes concerning that. So on 8/8 Lionsgate portal, which is a particular day for manifestation, I came across so many synchronicities that day, and this interview with Han Allred was one of them. Han Allred is the son of one of my favorite comic artists, Michael Allred, creator of Madman. He did a biography of David Bowie. He created Ecstatics, a version of 1966 Batman. He also drew the Monkees Christmas album, and I'd like to say that on Twitter X, I don't know how I did it, but somehow Mike Allred and also Mickey Dolenz from the Monkees both followed me, which, by the way, at the top of the hour, Mickey Dolenz, thank you very much for your wonderful introduction. These guys, were following me on Twitter X, and I'd like to say that I introduced Mickey to Mike and said, take a look at this dude's art. And Mike made some great art of Batman 1966 meeting up with the Monkees. And so he ended up creating the album art for their Christmas album. I'm going to put links in the description, by the way. So on Twitter, I believe it was Mike Allred who posted a link to his son Han Allred's Kickstarter. And the Kickstarter was Han creating a documentary about his dad. I said, I'm totally doing this. And Mike is part of a band called The Gear. And so you could get, and I have actually 2 of his CDs somewhere in the archives. And so part of my Kickstarter agreement was that I got a Space Face. Oh, Space Face, the name of the documentary. I got a Space Face t-shirt, and I got an autographed CD of The Gear. So the stars aligned on the Lionsgate portal, August 8th. And it turns out that I was able to get an interview. I told Han, I said, I'm going to be in town. I'll put you on the list. I'll give you 2 tickets, and I'll give your dad and your mom a ticket, each a ticket, see if they want to come out. So the stars aligned. I said, Han, would you like to hang out? We've got several hours before I got to do sound check here at the WOW Theater. I said, would you like to get something to eat? He goes, well, actually, my dad is doing a book signing at this bookstore nearby. I'll put the name in here later once I go through my memory bank. He said, yeah, I want to catch some footage for my documentary. He and Patton Oswalt created a comic together. And I said, what the heck? Look at how the stars are aligning here. Mike Allred, I've got a few interesting cosmic stories which I'll speak about in between each of these segments along the way of today's Inspirado Projecto. Han said, this is what's going on. Do you want me to pick you up? We'll go there. I said, are you kidding me? Absolutely. So while we were waiting for his dad to show up, I thought this would be important to interview him. I had no idea this is how the interview was going to happen. I mean, it just all worked out this way. So, in this, you'll hear a little bit of Patton Oswalt talking about yacht rock, and you'll hear a little bit of Mike and Laura Allred. I'm going to split up this episode later on and tell you what is so astonishing. Another astonishing. Oh God. Well, I'll just tell you right now. Both Mike and Laura Allred were wearing black blazers with the white trimming on there from The Prisoner, one of my favorite TV shows. And before I went on this Yachtley Crew tour, which this is taking place during, by the way, this episode that you'll hear. Before I went out on that tour, I had been re-watching my Prisoner DVDs. And I had been looking online going, how can I get a Prisoner jacket? I want to get one of those jackets. They're so sharp. By the way, look up Patrick McGoohan, McGoohan. Look that up, The Prisoner. This is a great TV show. I think it's on Tubi, actually. Tubi. It's free. But it is so good. It is so good. It's so thought-provoking. And so there, in addition to the cosmic moment of the fact that I happen to be in town the same time that Mike Allred was signing a comic book at the comic shop, which I had about 2 hours before I had to be there for sound check. So it all was in line, and there he is. They show up wearing he's wearing the number 6 button. She's wearing number 2 button, Laura, and they're both in the jackets. I'm like, this is astounding. Here, this is happening. An 8-8, my favorite number of all time because it represents infinity. So imagine that. 2 infinities. Whoa! It didn't even occur to me until I just heard myself say that. He had the number 6, she had the number 2. That's another number 8. Triple infinity, baby. 3 is a magic number. So this whole interview, imagine we're inside this comic shop. I think it's called Books and Things. Or I'll get the true name of this place. I'll even put a link in the description of it too, so you can check that out. Anyway, without further ado, here is Han Allred, synth master. I'm gonna ask him, see if he can send me any just like riff synths, and I'll use it. I'll use it during these little breaks where I talk, because I think that would be fun to integrate some of his just sort of like throwaway music that he doesn't want to use, and I can repurpose it. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to Inspirado Projecto. We're gonna dive right in. Wowzers. By the way, check out yachtleycrew.com, and we may be touring through your town. Love you.
Hi, it's Mickey Dolenz here. You're listening to Inspirado Projecto.
You can ask me whatever questions.
We're here with Han Allred, and we'll probably dip in and out of this because we're here at the Books with Pictures in Eugene, Oregon. His dad, Mike Allred, is going to be here signing a book that he did with Patton Oswalt, and Han had a whole series of revelations, and he was just describing that. I wanted to capture some of that for those of you who can resonate with this, and so maybe you won't feel so alone with your revelations. So you're finding that now with this new information that, are you, in addition to finding out that there are friends of yours or people that you might know that are having a hard time kind of embracing it or understanding it, Are you also simultaneously...
Nobody needs to embrace it. Like,
nobody's embracing it.
I don't feel there's anybody to save. What I learned from my experience is everything's in perfect harmony. That we're all the same. Mm-hmm. That we're all like the one fractaling off into many, fractaling off into many, fractaling off into many, and it repeats over and over again. And so like exactly 1 year ago during my most intense vision, so I had like 11 days of visions. So these things happened to my dad, and he's had them happen since he was 5. It never happened to me. And when I was 18, I saw him go through one so bad they couldn't hide it and was aware of it. And because of that, I started seeking out kind of deeper understanding of consciousness, looking into Buddhism, opening myself up to stuff like Alan Watts and Ram Dass, and just trying to understand and wanting really like growing then to want enlightenment. And then it's like as I grew to want enlightenment, then I found myself experimenting, trying to find it, like taking DMT, doing isolation tanks, meditating, all this kind of stuff. So this has been like a 20-year process. And at a certain point, it's like, this is never going to happen. And like, so then I let it go. I didn't think it was ever going to happen. It didn't need to happen. Like, my life was good. Like, it is good. My life is great. But like, I just let go of it, and I didn't need it. I forgot about it. I still kept trying to understand things. I feel like I was divinely brought to make this film in a way that like just felt beyond coincidence to then explore the stuff that's kind of like been this lifelong journey. And then so I'm just like stressed out because I have no idea what I'm doing. And like starting this film was like, I've never made a film, but I like delusionally thought it'd be so much easier than it was or is. And I made all these promises to people and that I wasn't able to keep. And then like, you know, now, and then I was kind of grown, like, you know, my dad isn't going to put out opinion on Twitter or anything if he knows people are going to be like disagreeable about it, because he doesn't want that, and I get it. Like, I don't want that either. But like, so I think that was kind of ingrained in me, like this, like kind of like being humble, or I don't know, just not wanting to stir things up. I'm hella ADHD and lost my train of thought. But so it's like just being on this path. I didn't think it was ever gonna happen. I let go. I like start working on this film. All this stuff happens. Like, I initially working on the film was like I was just trying to impress a girl so she would like me, and then like through all these like events, it turned into like, what's the meaning of life through my dad's story.
Interesting. And
then so like as I went off to do my first interviews in Portland with some of the first people I interviewed, I knew the story was about my dad and his episodes, but he doesn't share this stuff, so I didn't think anybody would have anything to relate to it. So I really thought like all the interviews with anybody else would be just kind of like B's story, his career. And as I was going to this first interview, this girl who I was trying to impress, her grandma had just died, and she was at the hospital with her grandma. So as I'm like going out of town, she's in the hospital, and I stop by and I bring her breakfast just to be like, oh, like, you know, I know you're going through something hard, and just trying to be supportive. And she explains like what she went through the night before, and that her grandma, when she was there with her grandma dying, and that her grandma was like screaming, and it sounded horrific, and she seemed traumatized. And I was already kind of in this situationship with her, this very like hot and cold thing, and it was driving me crazy. And I was already kind of just like, things are just pushing me to like, what's the point? And then she explains the story to me, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why am I even alive? Like, I'm here struggling, trying to have a relationship with you, and I'm just gonna die screaming in a bed? Like, what? Why am I here? What is even the point? And in that moment, I'm like, okay, I'm about to go interview Matt Wagner. I feel so fucking stupid, but I'm gonna ask him, what's the meaning of life? And then I go and I ask him, and he's gives me this inspiring answer about the hero's journey. And so he gets into the stuff that I wasn't really familiar with Joseph Campbell, but I like it definitely. It's like I was interested when he said it, the hero's journey thing, but it wasn't anything I was really. First of all, I'm like practically a middle school dropout, so I'm not like a very educated person, but I'm a curious person. I guess I learned from myself, and so that was interesting to me. He inspired me. I probably wasn't going to go buy a Joseph Campbell book like right after that, but then I go and I interview Jim Mahfood. And Jim Mahfood, then I get to it, and it feels so dumb. I felt embarrassed. when it got to the point where I'm like, what's the meaning of life? And then he gives me this really inspiring answer. And then he also talks about Joseph Campbell and the hero's journey. And this is the beginning of my journey, like in making this film. And so I was like, what's the hero's journey? I have to look it up now. And then I got all deep into Joseph Campbell, and I very much feel like I've been led. I'm a fool. I'm an idiot. I'm stupid. Like, there's nothing special about me, but then there's everything special about me, I guess, as there is like with anybody. But I kind of just feel like I don't know what I'm doing, but things keep working out, and like I keep putting myself out there and being vulnerable. And part of the process too, I think, has been letting people down. So like, because then it's like broken me free of the expectation of worrying what other people care about me. Because especially with like making the Kickstarter and putting these promises out there and very much wanting people to like me, I was very much like that kind of person. And like the more I let them down, the more I became paralyzed. And it's just like I couldn't even work when I felt like I had to. And so then I came to this realization, like, okay, you know, I'm disappointing all these people, but the only way I could give them what they want is to stop caring. The only way I could give them what they want is to not care what they think. And so I feel like I'm jumping all over the place, but that's part of my revelation. Mm-hmm. And then, so much crazy stuff, man. So like, there's so much, and that's why I'm writing a whole book. But like the awakening for me, like when it really started turning crazy, I did not expect it. I wasn't looking for it. I've been meditating for like 20 years, and I was just keeping up with the practice. When I started making Space Face, I learned TM like through the forums and stuff, and I started just doing mantra-based meditation. And after a while, I started noticing, like, man, as I'm sitting down into this, it used to be a struggle to start meditating, but now all of a sudden it's like I'm jumping into euphoria, and I feel like my forehead just kind of like vibrating. And so it was something that I was like noticing over probably the year before everything happened. Like, it feels like it was like starting to happen, and then this one meditation, I sat down and it just all blew up.
Whoa. And
so but leading up to that meditation, like I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist and all that kind of stuff, and I grew up Mormon, and they're always like, don't look at this. So it's like I broke free of that, and now when someone tells me not to look at something, I want to look at it. Yeah. And
you're like, well, what's behind that door?
And I feel like doing that, I've learned about all these things that seem like there's truth behind them, and that there's like these messed up realities that if only people like were aware of it, it wouldn't exist. But since there's this darkness it's allowed to harbor, it does. And then when somebody comes across it, and with good intention, they try to share like, hey, look at this messed up stuff that's happening, you're often like rubbing against someone's belief system, and that's their like zone of comfort. And it's easier for them to reject you and make you the bad guy than to not say that you're right or whatever, but even to open up their mind to the possibility that maybe there's something there. And so I'm just a curious person. I like to look into just about everything, whether I believe it or not. I want to understand why someone believes something I don't believe.
Yeah.
And so like I don't have to believe something to be curious or even think there's truth to it. It's like, why does that? I want to understand people.
Yes.
And so I wasn't really listening to rap. I was more listening to like Daft Punk and Justice and David Bowie and all this kind of stuff. I used to be really into rap in high school, and I was always a hater of mainstream stuff. And I'd been like a hater of Drake and all this kind of popular mainstream stuff. But I kind of had this like moment of realization that like I need money and I'm kind of programmed to hate money, and I feel like I'm repelling it from myself. And it's like I'm gonna being kind of adopting these. So I'm a chaos magician, like, which just means I believe in belief, and it's not about rules. It's like spirituality is modular, and it's all about taking what resonates with you from anything. And so like anything that resonates and is true, it's like a utility to like use to reprogram yourself to live the reality you want to live. Because we're programmed by our society, by our family, by our friends.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like, I want to reprogram myself out of this. So then I started listening to all this, like, Cash Money Millionaire, like, really stuff I would have felt was really cringy before, and kind of just made me way more interested in hip-hop again. And then at one point, I wasn't familiar with Kendrick Lamar, but at some point, I come across, like, his Euphoria track, like, on Reddit as it dropped, and it's this diss towards Drake. And I didn't like Drake already because I just hated the mainstream. But I was trying to open my mind and not be such a hater. And so I listened to his track. I'm like, oh, this is good. I want to hear Drake's rebuttal. And I listened to Drake's thing. I'm like, oh, there's some cool cadence there. Like, I was, like, trying to see the good in it.
Right.
And then Kendrick comes back with a song that's just, like, just, like, Meet the Grams, just, like, bitch slapping him, like, just really, like going brutal against Drake's family and all this stuff. I'm like, oh man, I can't, this is like the darkest, craziest, heaviest battle song I've ever heard. And I didn't like admire it or anything, I was impressed, but then when Not Like Us dropped, it's like, oh shit, this isn't about Drake, this is about the industry.
Wowzers. I don't know about you, but I'm a storyteller and story listener. I love hearing unique stories from people. I didn't know all this stuff was going on in the rap world. I had no idea. It's interesting how there could be dramatic stuff going on out there in the world that many other people don't even know about simply because they're not watching those particular sources, paying attention to that particular media. They got their mind in some other kind of thing that's holding their attention. Han Allred, by the way, thank you, Mickey Dolans from the Monkees for jumping in there. Han Allred has given me permission to use some of his music. He gave me access to some music during this episode. He said I could stretch it out to accommodate what it is that I'm talking about. And so that's what you just heard with my opening ramble, my welcoming message, if you will. That is Han Allred, A1 Authentic music. That one is called Void. I'm not sure what this one is because I haven't picked it yet, but I will let you know after I'm done telling you this story. I was going to College DuPage, 1992, after I graduated Glenmar North High School. And during that time, I had gone to the Chicago Comic-Con with my buddy Chuck Plath, and I brought a bunch of sketchbooks that I've been drawing in, and I brought them with me to the Chicago Comic-Con. Number one, I met Ben Edlund over there in Artist's Alley, and which the last episode is about the Tick and the man Eli Five Stone who picked up the baton and ran with the Tick and created those next issues. Also, the episode before that is about the Tick. It's at the 30th Big Blue Birthday Bash. So I met Ben Edlund, the creator of the Tick. I showed him my sketchbooks, and then and also Mike Allred, one of my other favorite comic artists of Madman, was there. And both of these guys had wonderful things to say about my sketchbooks. And I thought that's really nice because both of them were such huge inspirations in my creations. So some time had passed, and I continued going to College of DuPage. That's where the Belushi brothers, John and Jim Belushi, actually went to school. And while I was there, I took a class that was like graphic design of some sort. And I had taken a still of Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me. If you've ever seen that, there's a scene where Sam Stanley and Agent Desmond are in a little coffee shop. not the Double R Diner, a different one. They're investigating the murder of Teresa Banks. And there's a little practical joke that Agent Desmond plays on Sam Stanley. And it first shows, I want you to watch the TV show, and you tell me on the hotline, 561-203-9179. That's the hotline. It's a voicemail. Tell me on there if you remember that movie or if you're going to see it. So there's a scene where it cuts to the coffee cup. Sam Stanley's arm right there at the coffee cup. So what I did was I took that still frame, because I brought the VHS tape with me to the VCR there, took that still frame, and then what did I do? I somehow found a picture of Madman. I didn't draw it, but I got it from the comics. Somehow it was just Madman. And I superimposed him into, it wasn't Photoshop at that time, but it was like poor man's version of it. And I superimposed a little tiny Madman onto this. And he was like running across the table. And I remember I sent it to an address that was on, there was the website that Mike Allred used to have with his buddy called the Droog Brothers. The Droogs is the gang that was in A Clockwork Orange. Droog Brothers. And back then, Mike's mom actually stitched together little Madman, little dolls, basically, that you could have. But there's an address on there. And then it turned into AAApop.com. So back then, I had this address, and I go, you know what? I'm going to send this address a printout of this thing that I created. And I think I made up like a fake title, as if it were a Madman comic or something. But it was this premise where Madman shrinks. Wouldn't you know, the next issue of Madman that came out, something happens where Madman shrinks. And I was like, no way, that's so cool. He was inspired by I didn't get a reply or anything. But I was so excited. I'm like, that's so cool. Maybe he was inspired by that thing. And so I ended up, I don't know if there's an email on the website too. So I sent an email. I said, oh my gosh, this is such an honor. This is so cool that you were inspired by the printout that I sent you in the mail, about the shrunken Madman. And he said, I never got that in the mail. So I thought, that is quite interesting. How cosmic is that synchronicity? So for the longest time, I felt connected to Mike Allred. And if you read Madman, you'll notice that Madman is like this cosmic hero. He doesn't want to be fighting the people he's fighting. He's philosophizing in his brain. So I'm very excited to see what happens here with Han, and how he reveals his father's mind, how he reveals his process of going through this. So, without further ado, let's get back to the shoe, the really big shoe. Thank you for listening to Inspirado Projecto.
And he's going to war with billionaires, and he's using art to go to war with billionaires and change the world. And it's a #1 song that people are chanting all over the world, and it's about sex trafficking and stuff. And then so it just made me think Kendrick is a fucking superhero. This guy, I became obsessed for months, just watching everything going on. It kept unfolding. There kept being there's this guy on Twitter called Ebony Prince who's part of the whole story, and he worked at some hotel where all this scandalous stuff went down, the Mark Hotel in New York. And so he was slowly dropping all this stuff, linking Drake to Russian oligarchs and all this really corrupt, fucked up stuff. And so then I was just wow, in awe. This is amazing. I can't believe this is happening. And all of a sudden, so I was just getting satisfaction. You could see the pain in Drake's face. You could see that he's miserable, and I'm loving it. I'm loving every moment of it. I'm invested. And I'm feeling in my heart, I told you so. I've been telling people this stuff for years. Anybody who's curious and open-minded probably already knows about the Puff Daddy stuff a decade back. And so now all of a sudden it's coming to the mainstream, and it's this is the stuff people would have called me a fool for before. So it's getting the satisfaction, my ego of see, I told you guys. And then I went one day, months later, or at some point in July, I went outside to smoke a bowl. I sat down, and before I even smoked the bowl, I was Drake. I had become Drake. I was in Drake's body. I was in his house. I felt Drake's pain. I felt like how horrible it feels to be Drake and the kind of pain that causes you to become a monster. And then I couldn't hate Drake. Then I couldn't get satisfaction from seeing his downfall. It's like my first I already believed in the concept of oneness, but this is my first experience of oneness. And then that led me down a path of finding out that the devil is the ego and coming to peace with the devil. And then I got in a fight, and I could feel I all of a sudden was the witness and not the one who was angry. And I could see myself, I wasn't even angry, but I could see something working through me. And it made me feel like I was possessed or something. And I just felt like I need God. And then in that moment, I'm like, why does Kendrick wear a cross when he seems like he's into all this esoteric, oneness, 5%er kind of stuff? And it's like, this dude has Christ consciousness. And then I got into a deep meditation this one night. And in this meditation, I prayed to the devil. And to the devil, I thanked him. And I thanked the devil for shaping me, for giving me the challenges that have allowed me to individuate and become who I am. And I said, no more. I'm cutting ties. I don't you serve me. I don't serve you. We're done with this. Thank you. I love you. Respect. We're done. So a respectful, just let's cut the ties. And then I prayed to Jesus, who I've built up all this resentment towards, but had this realization that, Jesus is just a cool dude who saw the oneness and wanted to share that with people. And so I'm just yo, Jesus, you're a cool dude. Thank you for what you did. I'm sorry that I held resentment towards you. And then I pray to God, oneness, whatever. And I'm just God, give me Christ consciousness. I'm ready. And then I heard this still small voice in the back of my head, and that voice said, forgive everybody who's hurt you. And then I thought, I'm already on this Alan Watts, Ram Dass kick. I'm already kind of living this, the person who triggers you is a reflection. I'm already trying to work through that stuff. And I feel like most of the people in my immediate life who have hurt me, I'm not holding resentment. I've already let it go. I kind of already know they're doing the best they can. So in thinking about this, I realized, oh, wait, the people I need to forgive are people I don't even know. It's the system, the Illuminati, the Bill Gates, the billionaires. And so I start forgiving all these people I don't even know. And then as I'm forgiving them, I feel my body vibrate more intensely with every name.
Wowzers. Han is a very bright young man. Coming across these revelations, every philosopher questions the meaning of life, wants to know how are they connected to all that is. They want to figure out how to not be hypocritical, how to be accountable, how to walk in that harmonic, peaceful path. And this is a great way of doing it. My friend Lisa Bowman, who I interviewed, I'll put a link to her interview in the comments, in the description as well. She says radical acceptance. Bashar talks about the importance of forgiving everyone. That's something that Dolores Cannon talks about too, forgiving everyone. This is how you get rid of that karma, you get off the karmic wheel. You must forgive everyone. And it's amazing that the same kinds of spells that his dad falls under happened and possibly happens to him. Speaking of which, what you're about to hear here is the moment when Mike and Laura walk in, and you're going to hear me flip out. Then we're going to get back to Han. And then after that, we are going to be at the comic book table. Minor Threat versus Archie. I believe that's the name of the comic. So that's where you'll hear Pat and Oswald talking and Mike and Laura talking again. And thank you so much for listening to Inspirado Projecto. And once again, thank you, Han Allred, for allowing me to stretch out your music, possibly making it even just unrecognizable to what it normally is. However, I love your music. I'll be telling everybody all the names of the songs a little bit, but here we go. On with the show.
Hi, this is the Sock Monkey Guy, and you're listening to Inspirado Projecto.
Oh my God. Number 6. I'll be seeing you. I love that, dude. I've been looking for a coat like that.
I did shout to you on Instagram one point and you actually got back to me.
I've been looking for where to get that coat. Did you get it off the official store? Where the heck did you get that?
It's
Port Merritt.
Yes.
Dude, I've been going back through my Prisoner DVDs because I got the DVD set, dude. I've been going back through those again, and I've been looking online, like, where can I find this? It's so cool.
His apartment in the village is the gift shop.
Oh, God, that is so cool.
You can stay there. You can, like, all of it's every cabin in the village is a rentable place.
Have you been there?
Oh, yeah. It's
that would
one
be
of
a
the
dream
greatest-
come true for him.
On YouTube, Google Allred in the village.
Oh my God.
An uncut video of me walking through the village.
Was that like a dream or what?
It's fantastic because the TV in the cabins plays the show 24/7.
You gotta be kidding me, dude.
So you can be watching the show and then walk out into the
Oh my God, dude. Were you just waiting for the big balloon to come after you, right? Oh my God, Rover.
They sell that too.
Do they?
In the gift shop.
Oh my gosh. Did you hear about the story how Rover was originally supposed to be like some sort of robot or something? They're like, it was breaking down or something. They go, how about just a balloon?
Yep.
What a brilliant change. Oh my gosh.
I love it.
Of course you're wearing a prisoner shirt. Dude, that's amazing. Oh, by the way, I'm Kurt, by the
I
way.
don't know where she went. You're who?
Kurt.
Have we met?
Right there. I met you a long time ago at
you look
Chicago
really
Comic Con.
familiar.
Oh, and this is my band, Yachtley Crew, by the way. I want you to be able to have that. We're playing tonight at the Wow at 8:30, and I already put you on the list for 2, just in case you want to show up. I got your song on there.
Here's number 2.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Hi. Oh, that's too good. Number 2. Who is number 1? Oh my gosh. I can't believe you two are wearing the prisoner jackets. I've been searching. I was telling him I was watching the prisoner DVD set that I have and just looking online, where can I get the jacket? And he said you actually went to the
It's the coolest gift shop in the world.
Oh my
We
gosh.
have number 6 plates.
But the thing is, it's just so beautiful there where they filmed it, and you can stay in any of the places.
He was saying that on the TV, in the TV center, they're playing the prisoner on it.
Actually, I'm going to put this back and sign it.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but if we can make our way out here, we'll get signing started.
Never mind. We'll go to our place.
I'm Kurt, by the way. It's nice to meet you. I'm friends with Han, and I have you guys in case if you're open tonight. Oh, he's right over there. But this is my band. It's playing at Wow tonight. And I already put you two on the list and him and his friend on the list, just in case you decide to show. I love it, Kurt. Yes, nice to meet you.
It was all me. I had so much yes.
All right.
So excited.
Shall we?
Yes, please do.
Ken, I just want to say hi. My name is Kurt. I'm with Yachtley Crew. I want to give that to you.
Wow,
We're playing tonight at Wow. We're playing tonight at Wow. So,
no kidding.
Yeah,
Oh
so if
my
you want
God,
to be on
I
the
love
list, I'll
that.
put you on the list. Yeah. How fun that your dad's wearing a prisoner jacket, dude. Of course.
Like that all the time.
Of course. Oh my God. I would love to go to Port Merritt.
One of the conflicts has been like Neil Gaiman got in trouble, and it's like,
Oh, no.
and at first all these people were like, take Neil Gaiman out, take him out, and I'm like, well, I believe in oneness and like forgiveness and all, and it's all about unconditional love and forgiveness.
Yeah.
So to do that goes against everything I stand for, and so I put together these trailers. I don't know if you saw it. Like people were like saying horrible stuff to me because I included Neil Gaiman, and like it's just like
ridiculous. No, you got to keep him in
Oh,
there.
I'm not letting them. I'm not letting fear.
Yeah.
Fear doesn't choose things for me.
That's a tough thing, you know? I mean, if like the experience that you're having with forgiveness. Imagine if everyone else started doing that, and it is
It would
hard
create
to
heaven. It would create heaven, dude. So the reason the way things are the way they are is because we create policy out of fear. And that fear constricts, and it creates the current climate that we're in now. But if people made policy out of love, we would create heaven.
Yeah.
If everybody didn't, if instead of people caving to fear, they surrendered to love, we would be living in heaven. That's
true.
And I think it's an evolution, and it's happening, and it's unavoidable. There's no way it's not going to happen.
Waking up, it's that becomes an antenna of a frequency. Like anyone who's in that area, they feel that because it's already been said that the hearts speak to each other. The hearts are speaking to each other.
Well, we're all one, man. So it's like the door's God, this floor is God. Like human consciousness evolves from rocks. It's
interesting when you think about it.
Everything it's like we're God fragmented into beings that are God, having sex with each other, having sex with God, creating other little gods, and we're evolving through these family lines, and we're being pushed divinely. There's meaning to everything. So starting the film, I very much felt like, because my dad's existential tears and stuff, I really started diving into existentialism and a lot of philosophy, and I definitely wasn't looking into New Age stuff. If anything, that stuff felt cringe to me, and now I'm fully embracing it.
Someone I think you like is Dolores Cannon. If you haven't seen her stuff yet,
everything I've heard from her sounds like it lines up with me perfectly.
The Convoluted Universe book series is really good.
Yeah.
She does a whole one about Jesus and the Essenes, so it kind of describes the time, that empty time of when he was a child to when he gets crucified. So there's a whole story that happens in there, talking about him going to the magic schools and all this different stuff, learning all these different techniques. But it's really fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, once again, I don't think it's like Wu Wei. So Wu Wei is effortless effort, effortless action. It doesn't make sense. It's a paradox. It's everything's in harmony, and there is no fight, but there is a fight. And we want to evolve to love, and you think kind of modern day culture is punch a Nazi in the face instead of why is that person hurting to the point they're doing this?
Instead of following it down to the root.
But at the same time, maybe the punching the Nazi in the face is the thing that wakes them up. I think it all happens the way there's some quote from somebody, maybe Ram Dass or something, about we're all walking each other home. And so it's and I think to have this greater awareness, you kind of have to go bad guy mode to really understand good guy mode. Because when you go bad and have kind of been the Darth Vader, and that redemption, it's that's where those Christ conscious Jesus energies come from. Because then you could, instead of fear, and because with fear you try to control and all that, it's more of an empathy and wanting better. So, and I think I'm not the only one. I feel now at this point there's almost nothing unique about what I'm saying, because since this happened to me, I find so many people saying the same thing, and it doesn't. And that there's a shift coming. That's a big part of it. That's the scary stuff from my thing. It's not scary to me, but that's the stuff that feels like people don't want to hear. And so
Dolores Cannon calls it the new Earth.
I didn't even
be in the 3D
at that
minds,
point.
And then other people
Maybe subconsciously in my mind, I knew about New Earth. I knew about Eckhart Tolle, and I've listened to him before, passively, in time. Not I never got deep, but so I didn't go into my big awakening knowing about New Earth on the front of my mind, at least, but I'm sure it was somewhere back in there. But through my experience, I went to New Earth, and I was told about it, and that so I went through a portal, and it was all after the forgiveness stuff. So it was actually the forgiveness. After I did the forgiveness stuff, I experienced oneness and being everything, and it was infinite love, and it was MDMA multiplied by infinity. And it was the most euphoric, wonderful feeling I ever felt. And then it was my heart was wide open, but then I was so vulnerable, because then rejection and hurt or people fearing for me felt like daggers to the chest. And that would bring me down. But I knew from my experience, the only thing I could do to get back there is to forgive. So it became a process of all right, like I have to be in a state of unconditional forgiveness to keep this, and it's not easy. And things happened after that experience where people rejected me I didn't expect and stuff. And it was like working out the muscle of forgiveness. Someone hurts me. Maybe sometimes they did get a reaction out of me. I'm not perfect. But like I did everything I could to get back to that state of forgiveness and state of love. And every time it became easier to where I feel like it'd be very hard to get like me out of it now. And so yeah, I experienced that, and then I experienced so this went on for 11 days. I had like visions for 11 days. It felt like I was like not quite macrodosing on acid, but like I was like on acid is what it felt like. Like I was like in that state in between, and it was uncomfortable. And the only thing I could do to like ground myself and make myself feel good was to meditate. And so I would be meditating like 10 hours a day.
Incredible.
And in these meditations, I had these insane visions. And so I was shown how like existence is a song. Existence is like a melody. And that like a melody, like the experiences are relative. Like if you play just harmonic notes the whole time, it would be really boring. You need like a little dissonance to like make the return back home enjoyable. And that like we're in this human evolution. There's all these worlds outside of this, and there's like people who come here from other worlds to help. I was told that I'm one of these people, that my dad's one of these people, that Jack Kirby was one of these people, David Bowie was one of these people. Like it's not like there's way more of them than they seem. Maybe some people think they're angels or aliens. I think words only pollute the message, and that's why it seems important for someone to look within and find that experience themselves, because you can't really understand from anybody else's description.
Yoda was almost played by a monkey. According to the book, The Making of Star Wars by J.W. Rinsler, George Lucas originally planned for Yoda to be played by an adorable monkey wearing a mask and carrying a cane. What do you think of that? Stay tuned to Inspirado Projecto for more fun facts.
But I had that experience, and following that, like a week up until then, all of a sudden I started seeing 144 all the time, like a crazy amount, and it didn't mean anything to me before. And this psychic video came up on YouTube, which as a chaos magician, I believe in belief. So I believe like if I take that in, I'm letting this person's belief fuck with me. So I'm just rejected it. Like I don't need this psychic lady messing with me. And and her video said 144, the last thing you need to know. And so then I just kept saying 144 over and over again, over and over again.
You can't ignore that
and
stuff.
then so going into this meditation, this like deep one, the one that broke everything open, I see 144 again right before, and I'm like, okay, I need to see what that lady had to say. And she's like, all right, your spirit guides are telling me you're about to have this like big breakthrough, and that there's just one more bit of advice you need, and that's that humor transmutes all fear. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. I didn't really know what to make of it. And then I have this experience, I have this Satori moment, I experience infinite love, my heart is open, the veil is pulled, I like feel energies and stuff, but it's not all good. And there's like, it's like I was feeling reptilians and like dark demonic energies. And then I remember this lady saying, all right, humor transmutes all fear. And then so I started imagining funny things. And so there's this Kids in the Hall sketch from Mark McKinney who like look between his fingers at someone in the distance and be like, I crush your head. And so I just like pretended God's arm came out of the sky, and where I felt these entities just being like, I crush your demon head, I crush your reptilian head. And it just became so silly it couldn't be scary anymore. And then so I'm 40. When I was a teen, I was like definitely hated George Bush and all that kind of stuff. He was like this power figure in my life, and I visualized George Bush, and I gave him a big hug and a big wet Bugs Bunny style kiss, and just being like, I love you, I love all. Like, I forgive you, dude, I love you. and he turned into a reptilian in my arms, but he turned into like a Muppet style Jim Henson. Like, he was cute and it was silly, and like I just kept kissing him through it, and it was just like, this is so silly, I can't be afraid. And then at that moment, it felt like I leveled up in a video game, and I was told the darkness only has power over you when you fear it, and that with love it serves you, and that these dark entities actually will work for my good if I am not of fear but of love, and have love for all, including them. And then at some point after that, I mean, it's all kind of a blur, but it was like after that leveling up, I went through a portal, and I was told about New Earth, and that there's this coming split, and I don't know when it's coming or anything like that. And I've been paying close attention to everything happening, because it's like, and
the Schumann resonance, people are always putting that the Schumann resonance is going wonky.
I was told that many will hate me, but that many more will love me, that my message isn't for everybody, and that there's other people that serve the message in other ways. And it's all about it's not about reaching everybody, it's about reaching the people you're meant for. And I was told that in this coming split, that basically it makes it feel like this, I don't really know what this is, but it makes this feel like a soul farm or something. Mm-hmm. And that there's this sifting process that's going to happen, and that those who are more aligned with love, even by the mustard seed or whatever, like if you're the tiniest bit more love than you are fear, there's going to be this like shift, and you'll shift into the heaven side of things, to the light. And that those who are in fear, there's nothing to be afraid of. There's no one who needs to be saved or anything like that. Those people, they're just not ready, and they're going to be breathed back in. So like that, there's going to be this split. There's going to be this heaven, this like new earth, and then there's going to be the end, the like apocalypse in this other reality. And that those who are in the apocalypse reality, it's just like existence is just like a musical phrase being sung out, and we're at that end of the breath in this moment of dissonance that's going to make the return home way better. And that in this moment of dissonance, those who like find that light within, that love, who are more love than, they don't have to be all love, they just have to be more love than fear, that they're going to go to New Earth. And that those who are more in fear will be a part of the destruction of this earth, and that's at the end of the breath, and they're being breathed back in, and they're going to be breathed back out in a new phrase, and that maybe at the end of the next phrase is when they ascend. That it's not, there's nothing to be afraid of, there's no one who needs to be saved, there's just like, we just need to be, we're evolving to be like our authentic self-actualized selves in love. And that it's like in that we become gods, and we're fractaling off of God into this new earth where we're basically learning to be gods, to create our own earths, where we're going to create all these creations that then become gods that create their own earths. And it went on like that forever behind us and ahead of us, and so that there's like infinite layers of existence, and that it's all God fractaling into gods. And we're, at least in this human matrix, everything works bipolar. And so you are born into ego state, and it's like the soil you grow out of. Mm-hmm. And that once you... So that, hopefully you grow out of that soil. Mm-hmm. And it's not about eliminating the ego, it's about aligning the heart in control of the ego. Mm. That like, because I think even myself, that ego death is what I want. But it's like without ego, there is no me. It's about like, so the ego is essential, and we're evolving through these experiences that feel dark and hurt and all this stuff. They push us to grow and find ourselves and break from conformity, to really have free will and really be our authentic selves. And in that is like this Christ consciousness awakening, where then there's just a knowing, like when you know that everything is one and you're everybody else, you can't like hate someone like you would otherwise, because like that person who's hurting you is hurt themselves, and like for you to hate them is to hate God. So I should get some B-roll.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Is the signing happening in here?
Already doing it.
Wait. Oh, I thought it was going to be in that place. Where's this whole place in?
This isn't important to me at all, really. It's just like, oh, it's happening. It'd be cool to just get some raw B-roll.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
But definitely want to get some.
Oh, you're doing it outside. I see. I see what's going on. Wow. Incredible. What a great day for something like this. Man.
Yeah, so everything in my book is just like, I feel like, chaos magic is just a word and it seems silly, and someone hears chaos magic and they think of probably someone who wants to cosplay as the Matrix or something like that. But to me, it just means believe in belief. And in my experience, my awakening, I was told that I'm here to teach people to believe in belief, and that when we believe in belief, instead of these like belief systems, the belief systems are filters that that filter out other essences, and so everybody could reach these truths, but with their belief system they'll reach them in different ways. So it's like a Christian could find the same truth as a Jewish person, as a Muslim person, but they view it through their belief system. And I believe in belief, so it's like my filter is belief itself, and I feel like in that there's great power, and that so I'm trying to share the belief of belief with people, because I believe in everybody, and I want to hopefully inspire others to find belief. I could only inspire someone else. So they're shame and trying to push anybody into anything is fear, and that's that's what will get someone stuck. And so I was told that the way that everything is God, so it's even the dark stuff is it's meant for our growth and stuff, but that God manifests an artist. You're more likely to find the truth through art than the Bible. You're more likely to find it from something you find an inspiration from, not something that you feel is some rule you have to follow. And so this whole journey of making Space Face has been crazy inspiring for me, and I'm just hoping to share the whole intention of Space Face. What I want someone to walk away from it thinking is why haven't I made that comic book? Why haven't I made that album? I just want them to think about their lives deeper, and maybe be vulnerable and chase and find meaning in their life. And I feel that's my whole mission in life now. So that I want to be a light, an example of love in every circumstance I could possibly be in, accepting that I don't need to control or change anybody else, and that just being myself is enough, and that everybody's already on the path whether they know it or not, and maybe it's not in this life, it'll be in a reincarnated cycle in the future or whatever, but that everybody's getting there, and there's nothing to fear, there's no one to save, but there is being true to yourself and being that light, because it's that light that grows.
Oh yeah.
So with that,
well, I don't want to hold you off. You ought to get closer to him too. Thank you. Wow, this is really crazy, Ben. The way that the stars align. Today is 8/8, the Lionsgate portal. Wow, Zer's incredible conversation with Han Allred. Extraordinary revelations. You could tell this guy, he's turned on, tuned in, dropped out. As Timothy Leary says, this man is on a mission. He has a calling, and he's spreading the good vibes to everybody. Thank you, Martin Schmidt, aka the Sock Monkey guy, for your promo. Thank you, Henry D. Horse, for your fun fact. creativity is brewing. Later on, we're going to hear from another special guest, which I'm not going to give that up right now, but we are going to go to this next piece where after Han left me, he had to go get his camera set up and go start recording the book signing. So at this point, I stood in line, and the first person you'll hear talking here is Patton Oswalt, and he and I are riffing about yacht rock and how much he likes Steely Dan. And then there's a man sitting next to him who turns out he knows who Yachtley Crew is. And then a couple other folks. And then Mike and Laura Allred, another guy. So just incredible. Just absolutely incredible. Oh yeah, and they're so poetic, and they say such interesting poetic things that you're trying to decipher. What are the secret codes here? How do I?
And all this really like, hey, we're all just having. It's 4 o'clock on a Sunday. We're having some cocktails, and they're just talking about despair.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
obsessed with it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, that is so cool that you say that.
Oh yeah. And also, they were all like. Like, you know, the album Thriller, you could technically call that Michael Jackson and Toto, because they're the backing band.
Toto.
And all those guys they were such pros that they played on most albums you like in the 80s. They're like, awesome. We're only going to pay for a day of studio time. Well, then call Picaro because they're got a site where you just up and do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Dude. I dig the Madman tattoo, by the way.
fan.
Oh, it's so cool. Nice to meet you.
Likewise.
Nice to meet you.
Likewise, thanks, man.
I didn't want to tell you how to run your band.
You guys are just so good. You guys are so good. Can I take a picture of you guys?
Still sign them though.
Sorry. No worries. I've been here since 9:30.
We did so many articles.
What are we doing? And I know I have extras, but that's covered for somebody who couldn't be here.
It's so cool that you joined forces with Patton to put out a comic. It's so great.
I didn't do that.
Who'd have thought, man?
Who would have thought?
Yeah.
You never know how things are going to unfold.
Yep. All of a sudden, found myself on a panel in Portland with them. It's like, is this really happening?
Incredible. Dude, I just love how the forces aligned. I was going to interview, I did interview Han, and I had no idea because I put him on the list for the show tonight at the Wild Theater. And he's like, oh, well, if you want me to pick you up, I'm going off to see a book signing my dad's going to be at. And I go, of course, I can't pass that up. I got enough time before sound check. So it's just awesome. And on top of that, you're wearing the prisoners' blazers, which is so great. My gosh. McGowan, who knows what kind of awesome stuff he was sneaking into those, right?
Oh, man.
How many layers were involved?
Somebody that took his success and just made this wonderfully selfish, self-indulgent piece of awesomeness.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Oh, it's just so good.
Oh, is that your
Which is your favorite
is that the store puppy or?
Yes.
The store puppy.
Yeah, if I leave the door open and I come out,
There's something to love about everything. Yes, thank you.
It's a pleasure meeting you guys.
How are you doing? How are you know Han? Awesome.
Well, I went onto his Kickstarter, and so I've known him since then, since the Space Kickstarter. Yeah, so I've been in contact with him on Instagram. I said I'd like to interview you sometime about your whole process, and the stars aligned. My band is out here tonight, and I'm like, this is just perfect.
Oh wow, we were doing something at our house. Yeah, we would love to come to that.
Oh my gosh. Well. It was a pleasure to meet you. Did you? Are you involved with this project?
Okay, I didn't write this. If you're okay with it, I'll sign.
Of course.
That's how you play.
My gosh. Oh, here you go. This is my band. We're playing tonight at the WoW.
You never change your boots. Like, I mean, people are saying things that I've heard before and stuff, and it's like, okay, gotta.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just realized that was the other synchronicity, was the fact that the guy who was sitting at the table knew about Yachtley Crew. Han brought his girlfriend. They had a great time that night. I'm so honored to have experienced all of everything that went with that. I mean, the fact that the theater is called Wow Theater Hall, or Wow Hall, what a cool thing. Oh, that was the other thing, too. They had some sculptures of where the wild things are, and one of them looked just like the Labubu. My girlfriend's been collecting the Labubus. That was another thing. There's so many little things. So make sure you check out Space Face. I'm putting all the links for these things. Check out Mike Allred stuff. I'll put his website in there. Oh, and the special person who's going to leave a promo for us, his name is Richard Wilson. Phenomenal writer. I first met him when I had organized the Kapow Intergalactic Film Festival. He entered some shorts that he did called Under the Flowers. Well, now he is writing a graphic novel series called Halloween Girl. That's what kicked off the whole journey. So I, of course, wanted to add him to this because he's very supportive, my cosmic brother, and, of course, Mike Allred is a comic artist. I just got to say, once again, got to reiterate it, follow your dreams. Just put it out there. Make stuff happen. Even if you don't know what you're doing, just do it. Create the art that you want to see in the world. I'll put links to everything you need to know. Also, the comic series, Minor Threat versus Archie, the one that Mike Allred worked on with Patton Oswalt, which is the whole point of that book signing you just experienced. So, thank you for listening to Inspirado Projecto. Oh, yes, and by the way, the name of the songs that you heard by Han Allred: Void, Obscurium, Sugar Cheats, and New Score. I hope you liked them. By the way, check out yachtleycrew.com for when we are on tour, and we might stop through your town. If you come out to see us, chances are we will do a meet and greet afterwards. So stop by there and let me know. I play Stony Shores in the band, the guy on the left side of the stage and keyboards. Come up to me and tell me, hey, guess what? I listened to your podcast, Inspirado Projecto. I'd get such a kick out of that. Thank you, and take care.
Hello, Kurt. This is Richard Wilson of Mad Shelley Films Under the Flowers, and I just wanted to call and let you know that wonderful things have been happening since the Kapow Film Festival. Lots of people interested, and looks like we are going to have a third season, so I'm very thankful and wanted to let you guys know and pass on the good vibes, and also loving the show completely. And I kind of like, even though you haven't asked, I'm going to do like the whole, thing that I'm going to do in a minute, which is, this is Richard Wilson of Mad Shelley Films, and you're listening to Inspirado Projecto Radio. That was terrible, so I'll do another one. This is Richard Wilson of Mad Shelley Films, and you're listening to Inspirado Projecto Radio. That's about as good as it's probably going to get today. Anyway, I hope to talk to you in the future. Also love the fact that I'm discovering as I listen that you're...
This fall, choose Primavera Online, and you'll be choosing a school with flexibility, personalized support, and an award-winning curriculum that's over 20 years strong. Now enrolling grades K-12 at chooseprimavera.com.